Has your definition of love changed after years of marriage and responsibility?
I think at the end of the day, I've always been clear in my mind, right, that love is responsibility in itself and you kind of learn to do it. The idea of falling in love, I think
Ndewono, Ekabo, Sanu. Thank you for joining us. So tonight, I'm sitting down with a man who didn't just build a company, he helped reshape how an entire continent finds work and opportunity. My guest is my friend, but because he's my friend, he can be annoying, but to you guys, he's an awesome person. So his name is Opeyemi Awoyemi. He's a technology entrepreneur, venture investor, and one of the co-founders of Jobberman, the platform that grew to become the largest job marketplace in sub-Saharan Africa. And since then, he has built and scaled multiple ventures. Today, he's going to be talking about, we're going to go beyond the high rail into the mindset, the risks, the ego, the pressure of providing, and what it really means to build wealth, love, legacy, and when your income is unpredictable. Welcome, Ope. How are you?
I'm doing great. Considering the times.
Right? That's true. So he's 8 hours ahead of me. He's currently in Nigeria. He's a globetrotter, and I live vicariously through him because I'm here in California, US for other reasons. But when my friends travel, I'm like so excited on their behalf. So we go travel and enjoy. Well, let's get to it.
Thank you very much. I'm actually not in Nigeria. I'm in Zambia.
Look at that. See?
So I probably just made it worse, but yes.
No, but it's good. It's good. I'm happy that soon I'll be joining you. Don't worry. I'm not envious at all. Yes, I am envious, but what gives you joy?
Yeah, thanks, Ebele, again. I think for me, when it comes to joy, the answer to that question has evolved over the years. That's the real truth. I think as far as I can remember, let's just kind of start with like my adult years, right? Let's just say me from starting college. What gave me joy was building stuff, creating impact, right? Anything that I felt I could do to make life more meaningful for other people, right, was what gave me joy. And I think that kind of reflects in the career choices, right, I've made. Building Jobberman, building Google Host, which also have helped people like create online presence over the years. And also sort of still kind of reflects in the way I think about it in business and leadership till date, right? That's what gives me joy. Over time, I've, become more responsible, let me put it that way. Gotten married, I have kids now, 11 and 8, and I think the definition of that has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think today what gives me joy is being responsible for my own people, right? And the time when that even became very clear to me was sometime last year when on a particular day, I called 6 of my extended relatives. I had 6 calls, which was like a world record, right, for me. And I felt really happy with myself, So I think the view I had before of where, in fact, I even had a quote that I saw from a book that I used to kind of live by in some way, where in the book was dedicated to the author's family because they shared him with the rest of the world. That was what it put there, right? And I kind of embraced that so much. Like, if you're going to be impactful globally, your family, your own people would have to share you with the rest of the world, and they will have to kind of like manage the quirks and the inconveniences and the annoyances that comes with it, right? I think these days I want to desperately balance something I think hard about, and I notice it that anytime I spend my time with my own people, my family, my wife, my kids, my relatives, I really feel very joyful. I still definitely want to continue to create impact. I think that's what I'm called to do as a person. But today it's a bit of that.
Thank you for actually bringing that up, because my next question is, how has marriage added to you and taken from you?
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of question that you answer very truthfully and profoundly, but also gets you to sleep on the couch. But careful for a day or weeks, depending on how far you go with your answer. But interestingly, this is something myself and Lara really talk about from time to time, but we try to kind of talk about it in moderate ways, because you could say things that could almost sound like, oh, I regret that I'm married, which is far and further from the truth, right? But it's also important that it should be clear, especially to those who are not married yet, that there are trade-offs, right? Being married is a responsibility. You choose to change from you to we, right?
That's true.
You know, the way you behave, the things you have to care about, you have to accommodate someone else, and they also have to accommodate you.
That's so true.
You know, so it becomes quite complex. And then even as the kids come in, if there are kids, right, then it becomes even more complex, right? It's the microcosm of leadership in practice, where at some point everyone has to show leadership and cooperation, right, in their nuclear setting. In my own case specifically, I think the part where it's added to me is, one, before I was making money, not because I cared about money, right, but because I was just doing things that were like fantastic, and money was just like a byproduct, right, of it. Once you have family, once you have extra mouths to feed, that changes. Now you have to think about it. Your responsibilities now becomes priority over your ambitions, and that has a lot of trade-offs in it, right? I tell people that entrepreneurship and pretty much success in any way or form, right, has a price. Like each price, regardless of your background, regardless of your fortunes, or even your inheritance, right, or whatever that is, right, you still have to pay a price, and everybody has to decide. And also with your partner, right, and like, is this price worth paying? You know, and that's it gets easier. So it took freedom of being able to be anywhere. If you think I'm anywhere today, like, imagine if I wasn't married, right?
Oh,
It's probably
I hear you on that, because I also think about it being a single mom, having my son, the logistics of that. It feels like you're doing a lot of gymnastics. So I hear that.
So there's that. There is the freedom of also being able to make any kind of decision without recourse to the financial consequence. You know, it takes that from you. There's also the part where sometimes you might feel, and this might be even feelings are not real, that, okay, the fact that you can't do something at a particular time has taken it from you and has taken opportunities away from you, which sometimes is not even true, right? And these are like on the cons. On the pros, it makes you more responsible. You get a partner to think through things. You get someone who deeply cares about you by proxy themselves. And this is very important, right? You know, lately I've been reading the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story to that. Myself and Lara, we were invited to a retreat, a marriage retreat, held by the famous Gary Chapman himself, right? On a retreat grounds that's owned by Billy Graham, right? So really nice, serene place. I'm out of North Carolina, Asheville. So I had a great time there. You know, we like, okay, let's just study this book more. It was a powerful time. If people can do that, I would always say, yeah, do that. And if they can't do that, there's always like marriage seminars, you know, localities that they can do. Yeah, because that's another flight out again traveling.
I actually do love hearing you say that, because when I have conversations with friends, I think over the years I've come to realize that people most times and unintentionally love people how they want to be loved, and not how the person wants to be loved. They forget that they are not the ones on the receiving end. they are the ones giving. And that's why we have a lot of back and forth on this person is not doing this for me. Well, that's not how I, and then the person feels like they're doing so much, but is not being appreciated. So there's that miscommunication and misalignment, right? And it's not just even with lovers, it's with siblings, with parents, with children. Yeah. So that whole five love languages is actually true because I, for one, I know that I can do acts of service, but they tire me. But you see, buying gifts, I'm good at buying gifts for people. My sister's love language is doing stuff for you. Like when she came, she and my mom came to see me during Christmas. And then I had the accident. I don't know if I told you. I didn't cook. I didn't do anything. My sister cooked while she was here. She made sure that things were in order, and that's just how she was like, "Oh, Ebella, I found this recipe. Let's do this meat pie." And I'm like, "I haven't eaten meat pie in so long. Please make the meat pie." I'm the kind of person that my friends used to send me memes of. Ebele will come to your house. She's the one drinking the wine and keeping you company while you be the one to cook. That's me. I'm not a let me do domesticated things, but gifts, looking for things to do for you, or if I see, let's say, courses that I know would, promote you, your personal stuff, I'll send it to you. If you call, I'll listen to you, things like that. So, but then you also have to learn the person what they want. So that's really awesome. But please go on.
Yes, thank you very much. I mean, I digressed. I digressed there, but I mean, I think it's also relevant to the topic that we're discussing, right?
Yeah.
I've been reading that book, right, lately, and one thing that Gary pointed out clearly is the fact that the old mushy mushy love pretty much lasts for like 17 months, max 2.5 years, especially with a secret affair because they have enough time to hide and whatnot. It's still a bit exciting. But then afterwards, the real part of the fact that every human naturally fights for self-survival, right, comes out. Now, what happens in a marriage is each party is fighting for self-survival. And because you're married, you're tied to that person. Their survival becomes your survival.
True.
So, in a weird way, if anybody cares the most about you, it's your partner. That's just the reality, right? Because when you thrive, they thrive. Except, of course, in some very weird cases where someone gets entangled with a really wicked human being who feels bringing them down is the only way they can, thrive. And those are like really weird cases. But ideally, it's like your successes are tied together. Your happiness
That does
is tied
make sense.
together. When the person the person try to make themselves happy, they try to also make you happy and vice versa. And that is really great and that's awesome. And when you find out you're a powerful person who has high agency, who can deliver value in different ways, right? It's bliss.
Okay, so walk us through your financial journey, both building as a startup founder and as a provider, having a provider role in your household.
Thank you very much. This is a topic that I am very open to discuss, but I've just not really had platforms to discuss it. So yes, good to be here to discuss that. I think my journey has been very different from most people's own, largely because I started making money quite early in life, right? I beat the entrepreneurial bug while I was in college, Opeyemi University, Computer Science, Great Fair.
Please, we say university. Thank you very much. Don't let me go on.
Not college, yeah. American audience college, Nigerian audience.
I'm just a hater. Don't mind me.
I know. Don't mind me, yeah. So yes, while I was in university / college,
Okay.
and that itself, got me started earlier than most of my age peers. So never really understood what it meant to struggle to kind of figure out what's your career going to be, etc. I made my first million, final year in school, things like that. Then Job Man raised our first $1 million while I was doing NYSC. I was already an employer of labor for forever, as much as I can think about. So I never lacked as a single person, so I never had to think about finances. People have to save for marriage, for things. That just wasn't me. had excess, essentially, you know. Also kind of affected me in other ways because things like budget, right? Things like saving for a rainy day, because the money was always coming. You get the point, you know. I just never had to think about it. Fast forward to getting married, I had this whole concept of since you're making money, you take the big things, like take the small things, you know, and continue that way, you know, assets, just going to live life. And then moving to America, right, taught me differently. Now, America is a different beast on its own when it comes to finances,
Okay.
right? Largely because number one, things are expensive. Two, no bills can afford to wait. Three, there's this thing called credit that sounds good, but can also be bad, right? So you have to navigate all of this together, you know. And then in Nigeria, cost of labor is pretty affordable if you're a high earner, right? But in America, you have to learn to do a lot of things yourself. You know, cost of labor is super high. Not only is it high, there's just a lot of liabilities involved.
True.
And it just kind of changes the whole thing. Like, it's not unheard of to say like a billionaire CEO doing things for themselves. It's a mix of cost and liability. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I can just do this.
Mostly liability, actually.
You said what?
I said mostly liability, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of liability involved. So the things you just blindly tell someone to do in Africa, you can't tell someone to do in the US,
Yeah.
right? So it's a mix of that. So you have to plan your life differently, you know. And for me, when I moved to the US, I joined Indeed, large joined Facebook, great jobs. Pandemic also changed a lot of things for everybody. I think I hear that in pandemic, some couples for the first time they learned how to live with each other.
True. No escape.
No escape, right? You know, but we've always been good, so that was good, right? But then once I left Indeed and went back into entrepreneurship in the US, I started to see things very differently. Essentially, two things happened. Monthly cash flows changed for me drastically, right? And I now became quote unquote old money. So, you know, you've invested in the past, you've saved in the past, that can cover you. But in America, if you're not making good monthly cash flow, you'll be having palpitations. Like you will be like having like panic attacks, you know, every time, like, how am I going to pay this? What's going to happen here? You know, oh, I bought too much money, too much money on my credit card. Am I paying it back?
That's so
You know,
true.
and then as a guy as well, you have to kind of now like see how you need to adjust. So I started to adjust. You know, I still had goals. I wanted more education, so I went for my MBA, which costs not just an arm and a leg, like cost a whole.
First of all, say the school so that anybody can go and do their research if they are so inclined to find out.
Client. Yeah,
Yes.
I did my MBA at Wharton Business School of the
As an
University of Pennsylvania,
as an FE way.
San Francisco campus, to be precise. I think our current claim to fame is, of course, world top finance school in the world, top 3 any day, anytime. Elon Musk went to the same school. Donald Trump went to the
Hey,
same
they say
school.
clock it. That's what they say now. Clock it.
Clock it. Right. So essentially, it was a dream come true for me. Right.
Okay.
But then it cost a lot. Right. And we're talking 250K in student fees, both contributions and debts. We're talking numerous flights. I think I took over 150 flights within 2 years, right, to make that work. You know, then juggle the family, juggle business needs and concerns. It was a really tough time, right? And Lara stood by me all through, right? The kids also stood by me all through, Bolaji and Desola. So, you know, there's that part where you also feel like you're not alone and they help. But then on the finances side, I could see the fact that one, I had to change how I think about finances. I had to plan better. I had to budget. I had to cut out excesses, right? For the first time, I would have to think like, do I really need this thing? Thankfully, I'm naturally low budget. So I don't buy things, you don't believe that. Trust me. Um, the kind of things I buy, I can afford. Let's just put it that way.
No, but so me giving you the face is not about necessarily you buying material things, but you like experiences. So you buy experiences and memories, and that
That's
in
correct.
itself is expensive. So but you enjoy it, which is good. But so it doesn't have to necessarily be, maybe like the shoes or the changing your phone or stuff like that. The experiences too, especially when they're created for your taste, is also expensive. So me giving you that eye is not that you're not low budget in that aspect, but that's all right.
I
I'm
get you.
always high for, creating experiences and just capturing it in your pockets. But please go on.
Yes. So I mean, yeah, of course. But frankly, my expenses are still low budget compared to what I what I see out there.
Okay.
Anyway, um, yeah. To kind of wrap that up, on the finances side is one, I have to learn how to plan, I have to learn how to budget, right? I have to learn how to also have these conversations with my wife around, hey, I don't have that money, right? Can we push that aside? Or which that was never the case before. I also have to learn how to take what she also gives me. I mean, there was a time, especially when we were building the fund, right, that I couldn't earn a salary at all, like zero. And she literally invested her own cash into the fund so I could earn a salary,
Wow.
right? Very few people would do that for you. And, she came through for me. Until date, she comes through. Like today, I'm able to do the things I do because she's a strong pillar behind me financially. That's just the truth, right? From paying mortgages for all our many properties, we split things in ways we've never split before, right? And I guess maybe at some point I'll talk about how that affected me and I think about things as a man, But then that's been wonderful and it's a gift to me. And why am I mentioning it's a gift? Some people see it as burden, see it as like they've lessened themselves as men, but I see it as a gift, especially because I'm ambitious. I'm still continually chasing things, right? Trying to build bigger things, and that comes at a cost, both financially and non-financially. And having someone that can share that cost with you, right, both financially and non-financially, is a gift.
So I'm going to ask you two personal questions. This is just came up, and I'm going to ask you. Feel free to draw your boundary, but I'm curious to know. In the assets you guys bought before Nigeria, was her name on the assets? And then here in the US, are her name on the assets now? Or how does that work for you guys?
Great. So I'll state it for the record, right? It's a mix. And there's never been any time in my life that I worry about whether it's my name or both names, right? In fact, we have like one or two properties that, because of the structure of me not having a full-time employment at that point in time, right, and she having full-time employment, that when you check the title records for those assets, it's a name that shows up, even though it's for both of us. And that's how I've always seen it,
Okay.
But it's not easy to do it that way because, again, trust is a big deal in marriages. And at different times, the trust level changes and evolves, So if Lara calls me today and asks me, okay, that thing that you bought, whose name is on it? I'll feel a bit shocked, right? Like go together. But then that's also a valid question because if you could have put both names, why did you put your name only?
Yeah.
And this thing I just mentioned, I mentioned because it actually happened recently, right? Trying to purchase something in Abuja, and because of the way the phone was designed and all of that, it was essentially like one name, right? But then you could argue that I could have told those people that I need 2 names to be on this, figure it out. But I didn't. I just like, okay, we'll cross that bridge later. And I just kind of went with the flow, you know. But then I had to now do the explanation later that what's ours is ours, you know.
Okay.
It's what it is. And this is not just something I believe, it's something that even a lot of men have spoken to, regardless of other beliefs, whether they're very territorial or not, actually believe. Especially when you have kids. I mean, at the end of the idea is these are going to be for your kids eventually. So whether you like it or not, it's for both of you.
That's so
You get the
true.
point. And that's what I believe strongly.
Okay. Following the question that I asked in terms of assets, did you ever consider prenup before marriage?
No, it wasn't a thing where I was coming from. And even though as an entrepreneur, I've had those kind of thoughts, right? But I just never did it. I think culturally where we come from as well, it can be a breach of trust. I think it probably would be easier or much more common going forward with young people now. But then it was a breach of trust, and frankly, I don't see a huge need for it. It's all about like two partners that trust each other, and also because in my own case, and I've mentioned that already, my partner is quite resourceful in such a way that I find a way to bring her into the things I do in a way that I would say it wouldn't matter. Yeah.
That's actually quite lovely to hear. We are not getting any points, we. Okay. So have you ever carried stress in silence so you wouldn't, let your family worry about it? And what was that like? And who did you eventually go to onboarding yourself?
Yes, a lot of times. I think if anybody says they don't carry stress, they're just not thinking hard enough. That's overall. I've carried stress of financial challenges, where I'm like, okay, how will I figure this out? This is a big burden. How will I figure this out? But what I've always learned about financial challenges, at least in my own case, is they're always short term, right? And if you keep at it, be hopeful, pray, talk to people, talk to your partner as well, you can always figure out a solution, right? So there are times when I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to her about this because she's going to be very worried. Like, okay, so how are you going to fix it? What's the issue? And all of that, especially business challenges, right? Maybe the business is running low on cash and then you have a lot of payables, right? Not receivables now, a lot of payables out there. I don't want to make that a worry because I know, oh, it's a short season that's going to pass. So I keep that. The things I don't keep is investing in things, spending money on things, borrowing money. I've seen this not just destroy relationships, but destroy lives. Borrowing money without telling their partner, and then your partner now has to carry the burden of figuring out how to repay the societal challenges that comes with that, right? I would never, ever do that, right? And I guess I've seen it too much in other people. There's like one of those things that's, like I don't do drugs. It's just that simple. Frankly, if I tell you I don't do drugs, I cannot even tell you the reason. Like, it's just that there's no way. There's no way. If you see that Opeyemi is smoking weed, it's my dead body that was smoking the weed. Right? I've just seen too much.
Yeah.
Of how it destroys lives that there's just no way.
No way.
It's just no way. You get the point. And borrowing is one of those things. Right? I've just seen too much of it. So I cannot borrow. I cannot make those financial commitments without my wife knowing. And I think those things are very important. Yeah.
So we've talked about assets and sharing assets. And you and I have had this conversation previously when we talked about how couples also share debt. With your school loan, does she share that debt with you, or how did that, process?
Oh, my school loan is my school loan.
Is your school loan?
It's my school loan. Right.
So
Yeah.
she didn't co-sign or anything, because I think that comes through co-signing, right?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And I can't recall any of such. Yeah. My school loan is my school loan. And I think I've shared my views about student loans in America. So this might not be relevant for other people, but for America, it can be relevant. So my thoughts around it are, it's one of the cheapest loans out there. It can balloon up very quickly if you're not careful, right? But at the same time, it's a loan that, except it hurts your cash flow, I also don't think one should be too much in a hurry to pay back. I love Nigerians for what we do. When a Nigerian thinks about a loan of $100,000 as mortgage or as school loans, they're like, so I'll pay $200,000 back, but forgetting time value of money, right? You're paying over 30 years, 35 years, right? Not like immediately.
So there's opportunity cost.
Exactly.
But then you're
So
assuming though, because when the loan you're referring to being low cost is federal loans, because their interest rates are low. Private loans, their interest rates are not low. Their
of
interest
course,
rates
if
are
it's
like
private loans, they pay
killers.
back as soon as you can. Like if you
They're
can pay
12
back same
digit
day.
killers.
Yep. I agree. And frankly, I wouldn't take a private loan to go to school. Just
I
telling you.
did. I took a private loan to go to school and it hung me. But I'm happy to say that I'm done with that. So I think I told you that I paid off my
Yes.
school loan.
Yes.
Yeah. So in that case, okay.
Congratulations on that. That's a huge feat.
My dear,
On the list.
that was. Let's move on, Jerry.
Yeah. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
about loans, right? Yeah, government loans are cheap. So if you can work within your cash flow, right, it's fine. But if you can't work within your cash flow, try as much as possible to pay very quickly. So for example, we did something recently. So we have two cars. It was a Genesis GV80 and the Tesla Model 3. And now we switched the Genesis for a Model Y.
Okay.
Right? Is it Model Y or Model X? I'm not even sure which one it is now. I forget these things. Yeah, it's a Model Y. Yeah. And we did that because of a couple of reasons. One, it's kind of coincided with the Iranian US war issues that sent the price of gas up, right? So instinctively we're like, okay, you know what, just avoid this gas money, right? Secondly, we've had this car, the GV80, for a long time, and we felt like we get good salvage value. Like when you sell your car, you can get a $31,000 check, then that's a good sale. You get the point, So like, okay, let it go, get the cash, go all electric, But more importantly, it cut down the monthly pay on the car. And I thought that was like very important. So how do you manage your monthly cash flow? So going back to loans, the real game is figuring out how to manage your monthly cash flow.
That's so true. America will teach you how to juggle. Like you literally which ball to throw, which one to catch, So I do feel you on that. Has your definition of love changed after years of marriage and responsibility?
I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, I've always been clear in my mind, right, that love is responsibility in itself, and you kind of learn to do it. The idea of falling in love, I think it's never been real for me in a way. You see someone, you admire them, right? And then love grows. A friend of mine and mentor back then used to say you can fall in love with many people, you can only marry one or really love one. But I don't think it meant that when it says you can fall in love with many people, it basically meant you can admire many people, right? And that's fine, right? That's true. You admire people for different reasons, So it's not changed. I think love is really about committing to one person, right? And realizing that you need them and they need you, and you both just kind of work well for each other. A Gary Chapman might tell you that you should love as Christ loved us. That is incredibly hard, But I think that's like the next level definition of love, and that's where everybody should aspire to get to.
When you go home to your wife and children, who are you when you've had like a bad financial day or a bad financial day?
Yeah, I'm the guy that just lays it out on them, unfortunately.
Tell me more.
So, myself and my wife, and this is something we're also trying to work on. We talk about business a lot.
Mhm.
Maybe even to a bad point, because we do a lot of things together, right? She knows the things I'm working on. She can give good advice around them, right? So, and just a way to keep me measured. So, as a result, if I had a bad day, I'm just going to lay it on her. And she's encouraged me in numerous ways. That there are times I would even want to quit. Like, there are times I've legit wanted to be like, this entrepreneurship thing is too hard.
They work.
You get the point. We'll send you message. You get the point.
Yeah,
Just go and work at OpenAI and let everything just be chill, And then she goes and says things like, that's not you. You built your coat, and you've cut your coat. You've built your strength and DNA in a particular area, and you're really and insanely good at it. The world respects you for it. You can continue that way, and you just need to learn to be patient. If there's anybody that talks to me and admonishes me about patience the most, is my wife. And that for me is a gift again, because most people are always putting them in a hurry. Like show workings very quickly, right? But she tells me, "Okwe, be patient. Good things take time."
It's funny. I was having a conversation with my editor today, and I told him that waiting season is hard. And he was like, well, for him, it's not hard because he knows the end game. I'm like, well, lucky you. But for me, it's hard. And I hear
it's
you.
easier for a movie editor because you kind of know what's coming after.
No. Don't. Aaron,
No, and to be fair, I'm not trivializing it. So really, also
that's
for
not all he
entrepreneurship, it can work that way. Please go ahead.
No, that's not all. He's just doing this because he's my person. He's way above that, like above. But
Okay,
I mean,
got it.
means
So
generally.
video editor context, got it.
So maybe it's his experience that helps him in to see it that way. It's
In other
possible
ways, yeah.
he has transferred it to that. But for me is, so you knew about this show. I did the season 1, and then life happened, and I needed to compartmentalize. See, I had to say that one because if I don't say it in this way, I will trip myself. I had to do that in order to conserve energies to serve other things that I had prioritized. But then I believe that this is now the time to do this. And I know the things that I've set up for myself. But in doing it, there's a waiting season. And you at least have wife to be patting you on the back, but it's just me. And that even brings me to my next conversation, because the more I've had time to introspect, I've understood that sometimes love, even though it's coming from a good place, can be overwhelming and can be a deterrent. And maybe in my waiting season, sometimes it's even good that I don't have someone, because what if they're now not the support? What if they're the ones that using logic to dissuade me from doing things? There's also
100%.
that aspect of that. So waiting season is hard. If you're doing it alone, it's hard. If you're doing it with somebody, it is hard because, and like you said, America, the check, or no, not the check, the bills keep coming. They don't stop. And you don't have anybody to run to, but then you're building. And you've seen the dream is now putting the actions towards it. So anyway, I digress. Let me let you continue what you were saying.
No, I mean, pretty much you're correct. You've kind of summed that up, right? It's just hard to be patient, and it's just human nature. We want things fast, right? And the world judges us every moment we don't have it.
Yeah.
So it's really difficult, mentally, emotionally, financially. I did write something on WhatsApp this morning, actually yesterday morning, right? And it was pretty much around the fact that if I could turn the tables around, I would. If I could turn back the hands of time, let me put it that way, I wouldn't sell the companies that I built back then, Jobberman and Ghost, right? Because a lot of identity was tied to it, and you can't imagine how hard it is to try and build something with that legacy on your shoulder. You know, trying to catch up. It's like you're trying to catch up to some heights that you have set for yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and that is incredibly hard. It requires a lot of patience, luck, and just sometimes just letting it go. You know, and then just focusing on your focus, whatever that is. You know, so yes, currently I'm in my waiting season.
Have you
It's
learned to give yourself grace?
a lot, right? A lot, because I think about a lot of things. Like today, I have friends who are worth tens of millions of dollars in multiples, right? People, just like you said earlier, like, oh, you say I'm annoying to you, but some people respect me out there.
From a good place. From a good
From a
place.
good place, of course. Yeah, I know. There are folks like today, people try to reach, or people will like, dream to reach, but I can text them and get a response in 2 minutes. You know,
Accessibility.
accessibility is there, and I call them my friends. And they're my friends. You know, who built in the right places, and fortune has shown them. And sometimes it's easy to be like, oh gosh, I wish I was this person. But I think two things help me in terms of grace. One is I've been through those journeys before. It's not easy. Like some people will say, if it's easy, you say go do one.
Good one. Yes.
You get the point.
That's true.
So I have zero iota of envy in me, like zero. Right? I don't know whether it's God that gave me that thing or I beat it over time. Like zero envy for anybody or anyone, because I know the journey. I know friends who did not have gray hair when they started this thing. The gray hair is like no be here, right?
Yeah.
And I also know there's a price. So I keep asking people, can you pay the price? If I gave you the price and I said I've listed it, this is the invoice, will you pay it? So if you can't pay it, why would you envy the results?
That's so
you get the point. Why would you envy the results if you can't pay the price?
That's so true.
And there's also location, there's also timing. And maybe also in my own case, there was also a time when, quote unquote, I was flying high or at the top of the industry. So you realize that it's like being a musician or being a sports person. Today, this person is the world record holder. The news is all about them. Tomorrow is going to be you. It doesn't change might not change the financial situation of that person, but they're just not the spotlight tomorrow. So it's okay not to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
Your own spotlight will still come. And if you've already had spotlights, it's okay if you don't get another one. You've had your time. So that's what I believe strongly. And I give grace to myself.
There's also something that I feel like you should add, which is it's favor. Some people will say luck, but I want to use favor because I believe in God, because people have also built and put that tenacity. And, I don't know if you've read this book, The Outlier.
Malcolm Gladwell.
Yes.
My favorite author in some parts, yeah.
In some parts. So you also had favor when you were building Jobberman and Hugo Host, because you did not create the connections. The people that you built with, there was that environment on how you met them. There was a specific timing that it was just the right time that it connected. There was a right time for someone else to speak on your behalf in rooms that you were yet to have access to. All those ones, you had no control. It was just favor. Or like other people say, it was luck. So to me, it's preparedness meeting favor. You did your part, and then everything else connected in alignment.
At the risk of sounding cocky, with
Okay.
all gratitude to God, I don't talk about favor a lot, and for good reason.
Okay.
Because when people talk about favor, it's as a way of removing the hard work.
I
And
hear
we
you.
do that a lot as Nigerians. Like, you go to on the stage, say, all glory to God. Now, God, don't know. Please, right? We all have God and we all have favor. And people, again and again, it goes back to the price being paid. So you cannot say billionaire had favor because you're a millionaire, you do not have favor. You're having favor in your millions. Be content with your favor.
Exactly. No, I'm not. I hear what you're saying, and I hear it in the aspect you're coming from. And you are absolutely right. I am not demeaning or diminishing your hard work, which is why I said preparedness meets favor.
And it's
Because
not even
you
about
did
my
the
hard work.
work.
I'm even talking about others generally. We're
Yes.
talking about my friends, people I know that's super successful. I know the price they pay, they get favor as well.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, a very perfect example.
Okay.
And I just finished Femi Otedola's book, right?
I haven't read
I
that.
mean,
But okay.
That book is a book I want everybody that aspires to be in entrepreneurship in Nigeria to read.
Okay.
He had lots of favor, but at the same time, this guy hustled. And not just hustling, the kind of challenges this guy has faced. There are very few people that will face it and not die. I won't lie to you, and not die. For someone at that level to be having conversations of them taking over your house, your own personal house, I've not been that. I've never been in that situation. Not one thing of mine, even a biro, a pen,
Has been tried to repossessed.
I've been trying to be repossessed. I don't know what I'm trying to say. So you ask yourself, are you taking enough risk? Maybe this is just my risk tolerance, and it's okay.
That's true.
So someone now say Otedolana say because he has access. Can you take his risk? Have you ever taken his risk? Have you ever put everything down on the line? So that's why again, it's not like favor, but I think favor is it cuts across in such a way that I can't even place it. So, his father was former governor. Is he the only former governor's son? Where are all the other former governor's sons? Why is not every former governor's son a
Now
billionaire?
you sound angry.
Yes, actually, I get angry at that topic because I'm not Otedola, but I tell people that if you want to be like Otedola, you have to study those things.
True. That's true.
And not so I'm like very bullish about not pushing things in a line of favor.
Yeah.
Otedola will also say he wakes up every morning to pray to God. So it matters, just to be clear. Because even think about it. So currently, I'm building a business where there's a world where if one thing happens today, by the end of the year, it could be $100 million business. But if that thing does not happen, it can be a $600,000 business in terms of revenues, right? So me getting that one thing to happen is favor. So in a way, you're right too as well. When you say preparedness meets opportunity, you get the point. But it's like there's nothing called opportunity when there's no preparedness.
Definitely.
And I have a friend who also say, if a man keeps moving, he will meet his luck. So in this opportunity we are talking about, it's a relative opportunity. I can meet it this year.
True.
I can meet it next year. I can meet it the year after the next. The question is, how long am I willing?
How many no's can you withstand to take?
Exactly. How many storms can I withstand till my opportunity meets me? So the person that got it this year versus the person that got it next 2 years, that's a favor. So yeah, again, I think favor is common, right? And we should all pray to God that God should make the opportunity come now, not next tomorrow. You get the point. But if it doesn't come now next tomorrow, persevere.
Persevere. Sorry. Okay. You have 2 kids, 2 children, a boy and a girl.
Yep.
Which one is you and which one is Lara? If you had to say.
I think it's a mix, and I've watched that dynamics over over the years. I wouldn't, and I told this to myself a couple of months ago, right? I wouldn't comment too much about my kids
Mm-hmm.
in public in things that can become archival over the years, right?
Okay.
Because they'll also get to watch it, and you know, it
Yeah.
gets to shape who they are, what you think about them and whatnot, right? They're both wonderful people, and they've shown different characters, they've shown different love languages
Mm-hmm.
as well, right? There's the quality time person, there's the physical touch person, there's the person that I'm like, okay, why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? You know, and then I'm lamenting to a friend about it, and the friend looks at me and said, "You know, that's exactly you, and you
Yeah.
turned out well." I like you can lie to other people. I know you. I've known you since high school. That behavior you're talking about, that's you,
Mm-hmm.
and you turned out well. So cut him slack, cut that
Mm-hmm.
slack. You get the point. So I can't say someone is this person today. It's kind of shared, but I think my boy is kind of closer to me
Okay.
uh, overall. Yeah, a
What
mind
have
of his
you
own, super smart, but uses it in any way he chooses to use it to.
given
It's going to
time?
shape and then evolve to become his own
I
person.
did
You know,
see a post
all
about you
based
talking
on his
about your
reaction.
daughter and her entrepreneurship tendencies. So that
Yes.
was, yeah. And hope you're finding that for
To your
both of
point,
them.
that's also something. I'm not doing a good job of finding it currently. I think the only thing I have taken very serious now is making sure they're aware of what we do and why we do what we do,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because sometimes the best way of learning is they just watch and they decide what
True.
to do. You know, so if you, for example, still going back to the whole theme we've been kind of discussing back and forth, if you're traveling a lot, for example, you need to know why, where
Mm-hmm.
you are, what you're discussing, the business opportunities. Like my kids are really, really aware of a lot of things. Like they understand things like real estate, business in AI, domain names, jobs,
That's so
to
cool.
a degree that's kind of alarming to other people. Like, how do they know about this? Is because we get them you know, acquainted with why we do what we do, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, why, what does a business account mean, right? Why do you use it very differently, you know? Um, they teach them things like that in school, but there's a lot of things that they learn right from us. What does a CEO really do? What does a COO really do? Why do you have all these people working for you, right?
Mhm.
What if you fire them? What happens to them? So we have those conversations, you know, and I think it will help them a lot to decide who they want to be. One thing I've not ever done is to be prescriptive about what a child could be. I took that from my father in the sense that if I listened to what my parents wanted me to be, I would not be where I am today.
Mhm.
And basically, everybody would talk from their knowledge, which by design is outdated. I don't know what the
Yeah.
next 10 years look like in careers. I mean, what am I even saying? The last 2 years, we've all been shocked with this whole AI thing, right? That we
Mhm.
don't even know what's up. We don't know whether creators will exist or you'll be AI creators, whether actors will exist, so models will exist, whether sports will exist. Or, you know, it's just too much. COVID even changed another thing. Like, are we going to be out? It's just too much happening that you just don't know.
So true.
You get the point. So trying to form into one particular space for me,
Mhm.
it's not the right way. What a parent, what we do, I'm not going to prescribe to people, is nurture in the direction in which you should promise,
Mhm.
and also teach you varied things so that because you cannot be something you've never gotten a chance to
True.
experience.
Yes.
So the more experiences you have, the more it makes sense for you to see you go after one, and we watch you and then we support you.
For a man watching you who is married, ambitious, but also struggling financially, what would you tell him about balancing his ego, money, and family?
The family comes first if you feel it's the right place to be. And this is the part where I'll be very blunt as well, right? In some place, sometimes it's not the right place to be. And I mean, that's why the concept of divorce exists in some places, right? You know, before you make that decision, right? Think really hard about the pros and cons. People are always quick to like say, oh, it's not working for me. And I don't think that's the right way to think about that. Scratch that. Let me answer the question directly. What should a man do in that kind of case? One is take all the support you can get. Take all the help you can get because you need it at that point in time in your life, right? Appreciate the help. Talk about it, but still continue to push on your journey. If your journey becomes a bit unrealistic or impractical, meaning there are bills to pay, for example, and they need to be paid, and you continue on your journey would make them not to pay, adjust. I tell people it's a war, not a battle. So you can lose the battle, but don't lose the war. Very important. And you can also retreat from a battle so you can go and restock to come back and continue to fight the war, right? And that's how I think about it. So even entrepreneurial things and whatnot, if today I have to like just go and get a job in Austin, Texas, because the family needs me more than ever, or because I need the family too more than ever, and I needed to be there, I'm going to do it. If the support structure and system changes and everybody's like, just come back, this is not working for us, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to create lemonade with my lemon.
Okay.
Right. I'm just dealing with a different kind of lemon where I am. There's lemon everywhere. I'm just going to create it there.
Well, thank you so much, Opeyemi. You have been amazing. And for even doing this first thing in the morning, and it's midnight here where I am, I'm so grateful for friends like you who are supporting and, also showing us the way. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Thank you for, staying through and listening to my friend Opeyemi talk about his journey being an entrepreneur and all the wonks that comes with it. So I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comment section other topics that you would want me to discuss and possible persons, you might want me to try to get on this show. And see you next time. Bye-bye. Mwah. Thank you.